Hi guys, it's Briefers here and welcome to the channel. And in this video we'll be showing you guys how to implement TableView with expandable and collapsible, and also with the check mark for cell as well. For example, here we have the genre of the movie here, animation, superhero movie and horror movie, and then we have the subtitle for the section. So here keep in mind that we also are going to create a custom header view here. So if I click on it, it will expand, and when I click on incredible, the subtitle of the section will change, and the check mark here will check at the last time that we choose before. So Lion King, I will check on Lion King, and you can check multiple of them here. Alright, this is the application we will be going to do today. And first of all, I would like to thank SC for suggesting this brilliant idea of how to add more extension and component to the existing expandable and collapsible TableView. So thank you again, and we're going to start right now. So Xcode project, single view application. I'm just going to call it TableView expand collapse check mark. Next, create, and then we are going to implement our custom header view first. So I'm just gonna right click at this folder and new group. I'm just gonna call it expandable header view. I'm just gonna copy this text, we're gonna need it a lot. Right click on it, new file. I'm just gonna create CocoaTouch class. Next, which is a subclass of UI TableView header footer view. I'm just gonna paste it here, expandable header view. Next, create. We're just gonna leave it like this first. Go to the folder and right click on it, new file. This time go to user interface and select view. Next, also rename this to be the same name, expandable header view. Create, and just leave it. Right click on this folder, new file, select Swift file here. Next, we are going to call this one section, and in here we are going to create a struct called section, which will hold the data for our custom section view. So we need the genre for the movie, so this is the string, right? And then we also need the list of the movies, which is the list of string. And next we need a boolean value called expanded to check whether it is expanding or collapsing, right? And then the last one is subtitle, which is also a string. All right, and next we need the initializer or the constructor. Here we have init. I'm just gonna copy genre string, comma, and then movies, the list of the string, and then comma, expanded, of course, is a boolean, and then comma, the last one, subtitle, string here. Perfect. And then we're just gonna set it. So self.genre equal to genre, self.movies equal to movies here, self.expanded equal to expanded, and self.subtitle equal to subtitle. And that's it, we're done with the struct section. Now let's go back to the header view, the representation of it. So I'm just gonna set here the size from invert to freeform, and we are going to resize it from here to just 58 approximate size for the view, right? And then we go back to set the class here to expandable header view, and then we are going to add just one view, UI view here. This one will represent as the content view for our custom header view, right? And now we can actually add the title label and the subtitle label. I'm just going to put it here and just copy and paste it. I'm going to make this subtitle a little bit smaller, and then select this view. We are going to add constraints, so we're going to select the full side that is leaning against the expandable header view here. Just add constraints, and then let's go to the assistant editor. I'm just going to control drag the first one here I'm going to call it title label. And the second one, of course, is the subtitle label, so I'm just going to call it sub label. Alright, close the extend editor, and we're going to save the XIB file, go back to the Swift file. Just going to delete this. We need 2 more attributes, but before that we are going to implement the protocol. So protocol, which is the expandable header view delegate, right? And then we just need one function for toggle. So I'm just gonna name it toggle section. We are going to pass in this header. So this is the type expandable header view here, and of course the section, which is integer. And here now we can add our attributes. So the first one is of course the delegate, which is this type, right? And then the next one is section, indicating the current section it is in. And then we are going to create the initializer. So init reuse identifier, super.init reuse identifier with this reuse identifier. And here we are going to add the gesture recognizer. So self.add gesture recognizer UI tab gesture recognizer with target self and action selector. We are going to name it select header view. So here, after the expandable header view is initialized, it will call this add gesture recognizer that will make our expandable header view able to detect the click. So when it is clicked, it will call this function. So we are going to create one function select header view, which I'm just going to name it gesture, but the type is very important, so it is this type. We are going to subtract the cell out of the gesture view that is being clicked. So view, I'm just going to cast it back to our class here. And now we can really call our delegate. So delegate.toggle section here with self as the header, and then section, so self dot the current section. Perfect. And next what we need is our custom initializer. So custom init, which will take title as a string and subtitle as a string and section as int and delegate as this delegate, right? And here we first set our self.title label dot text equal to the title here, self.sub label dot text equal to subtitle, and self.section equal to this section, self.delegate equal to this delegate. Next we are going to set a little of the style, so layout subviews super.layout subviews. Here we're going to set the background and the text, so self.title label dot text color. We're going to set it to UI color dot white. I'm just going to copy and paste it here, apply to sub label as well. And next is just going to set the alpha for sub label to make it like fade out a little bit. So I'm just going to set it to 0.7, and then just going to set the color for the content view. So content view dot background color equal to UI color dot dark gray. And then we need another initializer, which is required coder. I'm just going to copy the same initializer over there to paste it here. Just change the parameter when we call the super init here to coder, and that's it. I'm just going to save the file, and now we're done implementing our expandable header view, which is the custom header view which able to detect and handle the click action from the user. Alright, next let's go to Mentor Storyboard. This is where we actually start. I'm just going to add the table view here inside our view controller. Simple and easy. And then I'm just going to add the prototype cell here right? And I'm just gonna drag the cell in, change the cell style from custom to basic, and then we're going to set the identifier to label cell. So this is the template for our table view. Don't forget to control and drag from table view to our view controller to set the data source, and of course do it again for the delegate. And next I'm just going to click on the table view and then add constraints here. Click on the view controller here, editor, embedded in navigation controller. This is nothing to do with the application. I'm just gonna set the title here to movies. And then we are going to create an outlet connection. So open the assistant editor and control and drag the table view in view controller and name it table view. That's it. Now we're done with the representation of our application. Let's just close the assistant editor, go back to view controller, and here we go. So first of all, we need the actual data for adding to the table view. So I'm just going to copy this section array and paste it here. And of course, I prepare sections array for you guys under the description below, so you can just copy and paste it right here. Alright, and we also need one more attributes which will holding the data where the index path is being selected. So this is the type index path. Alright, and then we are going to initialize this index path as the invalid one first, just to make it not null. So equal to index path, and then we're going to set the row equal to -1 and section equal to -1. And next we are going to register our expandable header view to our table view. So I'm just going to create nip file, so nip here equal to UI nip, and the name will be, of course, the name of the expandable header view here with no bundle. So here. Next we are going to call our table view dot register here. Make sure it's nip, and for header footer view we use identifier here. I'm just going to pass in nip, and then expandable header view will be the identifier here. Alright. Next, let's implement the UI table view data source and delegate. So UI table view delegate and UI table view data source. And here we go. Next, we are going to implement the functions that will conform to those protocols. So the first one is number of sections, and I'm just gonna put it down all at once. So the next one is number of rows in section. Alright, height for header in section. Next is height for row at, and then we have also height for footer in section, and also view for header in section, and cell for row at, and of course did select row at. And these are all the methods that we need to implement our table view. The first one is number for section. We are going to return sections dot count, return here, and here we are going to return back the size of movie array. So we need to access to the second dimension array here. So section dot movies dot count, and height for the section we're just going to return 58. And next is height for each of the row. So here it depends on the expanded boolean value here. So here sections at index path dot section dot expanded, and if it is expanding, I'm just going to return back 44, and if it's not, just going to return back 0. So here is just to hide or to toggle it, right? And the height for the footer, I'm just going to set it to 2 just to differentiate between the sections. Next is the view for header in section. So I'm just going to create the header view here, which of course we are going to dequeue from our table view that we register nip in the view did load. So table view dot dequeue, we use identifier here. Make sure it's the reusable header. Alright, and the identifier, I'm just going to scroll up and it has to be the same identifier as here. Just paste it in, and we are going to cast it back to expandable header view. And now after we cast it, now we are able to use or utilize the custom init function here. So here title, it will be equal to sections at this section dot genre, and the subtitle as well. So section here dot subtitle, and the section here will be, of course, the section here, and the delegate will be self. At this point, we also have to implement the expandable header view delegate. Alright, the arrow will be gone, I believe, and here we go. And now we are going to actually return back our header view. Next is the cell for row add, so I'm just going to create the cell which will be DQ from the table view as well. So TableView dot DQ, this time is the cell, right, with identifier label cell, right? And then here we're just going to set the text label dot text equal to sections, right, is the name of the movie. So index path dot section, we're going to set the movie array at this row, so index path dot row. And then we need to also set the accessory type to check mark or none. So accessory type equal to, it depends on the index path, whether it's equal to the selected index path or not. If yes, then we are going to set it to check mark, then otherwise none, and that's it. So we're now going to return back the cell, and I'm just gonna unwrap it. And here when we select the cell, we're just gonna set the current select index to be this cell, right, and just collapse the corresponding section. So first we are just going to say self dot select index path will be equal to this current index path right here, and after that we are going to set the subtitle for the section. So self dot sections, right, this index path dot section, and then dot subtitle will be equal to the title for this cell. So TableView cell for row at this particular index path, and also we need to access the text label, right, because it's the title of the cell dot text. And here you go, we just set the subtitle for this section to be equal to the title of the cell. And after we set everything, we need to reload and update our table view. So we need also to toggle the boolean value. We need to collapse the section, right? So section at this index path dot section dot expanded will be equal to the opposite side. So we just toggle it here, and after we toggle that one, we're just gonna begin to update. So TableView dot begin update, and then just gonna copy this line and paste it again for end updates. And in between this begin and end, we're just gonna say TableView dot reload the whole sections here. We're just gonna return, we're just gonna send this index path dot section in, and also with animation. Alright, and I believe we almost finished. We just need one more function to conform to this expandable header view delegate, which I'm just going to go back to remind you that we have to also implement toggle section function here. So I'm just going to copy toggle section function here, the whole header of the function, go back to view controller, I'm just going to paste it here. So here we have the toggle section, which pretty much do the same thing, almost the same thing as this select row at here. So we just change this to just the section here, section here, and that's it. So again here, when our table view header view here is selected, then it will call this function, and this function will call the delegate toggle section. So whoever is its delegate, it will call this toggle section right here. So our view controller here is now set to the delegate of expandable header view. So when the header view is selected, it will call this function inside view controller here. So I'm just gonna run to see the result. Here you go. Well, here actually we have to just make the optional value here as to be safest as we can be. And here we have problem with setting the style of the text, of the color and everything. We need to go back to the XIB file and just select the expandable header view here, change the background from the selected color, which is white. We just need to set to default, which is none, and also as the view, so select view and just change the background from white to default. So I'm just going to save XIB and save the Swift file, and I'm just going to run it again. And here you go, we have our custom header view, which is able to accept the gesture recognizer. As we clicked, it will do the toggle, and of course we have the title and subtitle. So we're going to try to click on animation here, and superhero here, and horror here, and just select one, Avengers, and after selected, it will toggle, so the section will collapse and the subtitle here will change corresponding to the choice we have selected, and also the check mark will be set on the accessory type of this cell. So try again. Here you go, and right here. Okay, and that's it guys. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. If you find this video helpful, please leave a like or subscribe, and if you have any question or any suggestion, you can just leave them down in the comment section below. And everybody, let's just keep coding, and we'll see you guys in the next one.